Okay, so good morning to you. Today is the 3rd of September 2020. My name is Kwame Owusu. So this is the newspaper review segment on Good Morning Africa with yours truly, Kwame. Now, let me remind you, as always, that the WhatsApp number is active. It's 0260846539, 0260846539. Let me apologize to you for the late start of the show. We're here now. We're here to deliberate on all the issues that we have tabled for our conversation today, which I'm going to share with you now, actually. We're going to be first and foremost touching on an African story. The Speaker of Nigeria's Parliament heads to Ghana over diplomatic role. And also, why lie to cover up an animalistic behavior? Neil Antevanapur questions Banaman. Ochihine speaks out on Domefasi land dispute. COVID-19 hikes debt service cost. Government re-strategizes for rebound. Deputy Finance Minister intimated. And these are the topics that we've tabled for our conversation today. I'm excited to have in the studios with us Honorable Inusa Fuseni, who is here seated. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
Also, our very own Kamal Dean is also here. Kamal, good morning.
Very good morning. When you say your very own, I believe it's Pan Africa that owns me, and not. You understand?
Yes, I know.
For Pan Africa, I can associate myself.
Absolutely.
But beyond Pan Africa, I disassociate.
I don't know what you mean by that. No, that's not what you mean by that. But it's okay. It's a problem.
What you're saying is very clear. Saying that as of Pan Africa, you can associate. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to NPP, take him out.
Very early morning mischief. When it comes to NDC, take me out. That's the point I wanted to make. Anyways, right, so we're here. We're streaming live on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Pan-African Television. We are also on YouTube, youtube.com/Pan-African Television. So be kind enough to share the feed so that others can get the opportunity to listen to Wisdom this morning. We'll kickstart the conversation with Honorable Inusa Fuseni on the subject matter of the Speaker of Nigeria, who's heading to Ghana over diplomatic role. Sir, let's start with you.
Thank you so very much, and consistent with what I've been doing over the months, to extend my sincere regards to your viewers. Welcome to Kamal, the second time he's appeared on Pan Africa. He's fallen in love with Pan Africa.
Yeah.
And we must welcome you. And my brother, Kwame Prater, you're good self.
Yes, sir.
It's always quite heartwarming to be here on a Thursday morning. The visit of the Nigerian speaker, or the engagement of the Nigerian leadership with the Ghanaian leadership, is long overdue. It's long overdue. Indeed, you know that many things have happened between Ghana and Nigeria, starting from somewhere last year, when our Nigeria, because they were dealing with smuggling between their borders and Benin, they locked or closed their borders. That prevented Ghanaian products from entering the Nigerian market, and also Ghanaians who had gone to Nigeria to buy some goods were unable to bring down their goods. You recall the 17 or so articulated trucks that were locked up on either side of the border, and I had to take the Minister for Foreign Affairs to go to even give them money to keep them sustenance. That was clearly a situation. Ghana was not the victim. Ghana was not the target of the Nigerian action. A lot of rice imported into Benin, even more than Nigeria. But because of the border, porous nature of the Benin border, most of the rice get into Nigeria. A lot of vehicles get into Benin. Because of the porous nature, most of the vehicles end up in Nigeria. Nigeria, it means that there's a market for the vehicles. It means that there's a market for the rice in Nigeria. But Nigeria is losing substantial revenue because of that. Because those vehicles, the rice, the products, the goods are smuggled into the country, and so the country loses huge revenue. They closed their borders to deal with that. It affected the trade relations between Ghana and Nigeria. We had to send our foreign minister. Now, we had said that during that time, all of us said that Nigeria appeared to be breaching ECOWAS protocol, which allows for the free movement of goods and services along the ECOWAS corridor. And Nigeria could do that with impunity because Nigeria is the powerhouse in West Africa. So, I mean, you can't call them to order because they are big. And that was why they were able to do that. I mean, you can even see a manifestation of that in the negotiation of the EPA with the European Union.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the economic partnership agreements. Nigeria is a stumbling block, and they said they wouldn't negotiate under the ECOWAS protocol because they are big. You need the Nigerian market to be able to survive in, I mean, even a European country. So, now, but coming down specifically to Ghana, the running issue in this country, which has been around for close to 14 or more years, because since I went to Parliament in 2006, this running issue has been there. The running issue of whether or not, because of the right of residence of foreigners, particularly ECOWAS citizens in Ghana, can we interpret the right of residence under the ECOWAS protocols as entitling foreigners who are non-Ghanaians to engage in retail trading? Is the ECOWAS protocol inconsistent with the Ghanaian laws, or Ghanaian laws inconsistent with the ECOWAS laws? Is it a fetter on the rights of Ghanaian citizens or ECOWAS citizens to live freely and engage in the activities in this country? These are very worrying questions that has been around. I mean, to address the issue, you know, initially you just needed $50,000, the evidence of $50,000 invested in the economy to be able to engage in retail trade.
Absolutely.
We move it up to about $200,000. Now it's about $1 million. Now $1 million, you also need to employ about 11 people, Ghanaians. So technically, foreigners are not prevented from engaging in retail business in Ghana, technically, because all the shop rights, they are not owned by Ghanaians, but they engage in retail business. The Accra Mall people, they are not, those retail shops there are not owned by Ghanaians. The China Mall, there's a China Mall sitting somewhere in Accra here, it's not owned by Ghanaians, but they have demonstrated that they have invested more than $1 billion in the economy of this country. And having done so, and they are employing more than even the number of Ghanaians required under the law. So they are engaged in retail business. Now the difficulty is our Nigerian brothers and sisters, even South Africans. Westmore. It's
West Hills Mall.
West Hills Mall. It's a South African retail shop. They are engaged in retail business. Achimota Mall. They are engaged in retail business. And so there is no law preventing South Africans from engaging in, or Africans from engaging in retail business in Ghana, except that you must comply with the domestic law, the GIPC law, which says that you must meet the minimum requirement. The minimum requirement for a foreigner to engage in retail business is $1 million and employ a number of Ghanaians. Our Nigerian brothers are not able to do that. Our Togolese brothers are not able to do that. You see, they could, I don't know what I can offer them free advice. They could still be trading in Ghana, not retail. Because we are saying retail business. So Nigerians could bring their goods and sell bulk goods to Ghanaians. And Ghanaians will do the retail. They won't be conflicting the law. At least that will be one escape route. But the Nigerians want to be part of the show. They want to be part of the show. They have bought shops. They've opened shops at Okaishi, Tudu, Kaneshi. Wherever there is a market, there's a Nigerian shop. Even in Tamale. They sell tubes, bicycle tubes, and ties, spokes. These are retail businesses. So the Chinese also emulated them and came with wheelbarrows. You saw them? And pushing wheelbarrows along our streets. Why is it that we say we don't want retailers, foreigners in the retail business? Ghana has a duty. The country Ghana has a duty to provide employment. In fact, today, as your mama has said, employment creation should be the #1 objective of government. Because the teeming number of youth who have left the schools, who have left the universities, who have left the technical institutions, are not employed. You should create conditions for them to be employed. So if the private sector grows, then the private sector will need more hands. And that's why we have reserved retail business for Ghanaians to deal with the employment problem. You can't do retail in China unless you are hired You can't do retail in Nigeria unless you are hiding. You must comply with the law. Then, apart from the retail business, just 2 months or 3 months ago, the Ghana government closed its eyes to the demolition of the Nigerian High Commission building. That was the height of impunity. The height. Because where the building is situated is right in the middle of town. Right in the middle of town. There are even police stations around that place. Bulldozers were being moved. The occupants of the building attempted to alert the police. They ignored all warnings. Those who were going to demolish the building knew that they could not do that because that's a diplomatic mission. Never mind that there's rival claims to the land, but that's a diplomatic mission, and you risk, fracturing the diplomatic relations between Ghana and Nigeria. They knew that, but they did that. The attack on the diplomatic mission of Nigeria could rightly be interpreted as an attack on Nigeria. If our diplomatic mission is attacked anywhere in West Africa or in the African continent or in the world, it's an attack on Ghana. And so I'm not surprised at all. In fact, the Nigerian minister, Lai Mohammed, has said that Nigerians have been reduced to objects of ridicule because they are being deported, their shops are being closed, they are always running battles with the security services. I think that the coming of the Speaker to Parliament to engage with the Ghanaian authorities to try to find a sisterly or brotherly way of resolving the seeming intractable difficulties between Ghana and Nigeria is important. It's important because of the South-South cooperation. It's important because of the significant role our big brother Nigeria plays.
Okay.
I have said that for the trade, there should be a political solution. And that solution can only be done by the ECOWAS heads of states. If the ECOWAS heads of states decide that, for ECOWAS countries, citizens of ECOWAS countries can trade in our respective countries with their recourse to our domestic laws, that solves the problem. That solves the problem. But until that declaration is made, Ghanaians have a duty. Ghanaian law enforcement officers have a duty to enforce the laws that have been passed by the Parliament of Ghana.
Thank you very much. Come on.
Well, Kwame.
Yes, sir.
Once again, very good morning to you. Good morning to Uncle Kosi, and of course, good morning to Honorable Inusa Fuseni. And good morning to the chiefs and people of Nantong, constituency, especially the chief of Zau, my own grandfather. I want to say a very good morning to him, and of course, to every single chief in my constituency. I say that the MPP is doing a great job. Let's remember that inshallah, come December 7th, the MPP be voted for massively.
Oh, that was
without a doubt. I know they'll be doing it. They'll be doing the needful.
You know what you're saying?
Kwame, this Nigeria-Ghana matter, which of course has given cause for some sort of diplomatic row between us in a way, is a worrying situation. And like Honorable Inusa Fuseni posited, the laws are clear. When you take Act 865, which is the GIPC law, of course, passed in 2013, Section 27, Clause 1 of that particular law, spells out exactly what is supposed to be done by foreigners and what is supposed to be done by, if you like, citizens of Ghana. The question of sovereignty arises here. Nigeria has a sovereign right, and I like when he alludes to the fact that there has been in some few months ago, Nigeria expressed and exercised their sovereign right to close all borders for reasons best known to themselves. Ghanaian traders had not the opportunity to get into Nigeria. Some were locked up at Same border, couldn't go, and like he rightly put it, it took the government of Ghana to send a deputy foreign affairs minister to them because they are our citizens. But they have interest in Nigeria, but they cannot get in because sovereignty is sovereignty. Now you move beyond sovereignty, we have interregional arrangements, or regional arrangements, I should say. where countries of the sub-region have come together, and also of Africa have come together, to decide that, look, for us to move and have a peaceful coexistence, let us have some relaxation of some laws in your domestic areas, so that we could have free movement of goods and services. This brings to fore the ECOWAS protocols, as it were. Those are also there. But when you ask yourself, the law on sovereignty and those laws, which of course promotes bilateral trade or multilateral trade, which one supersedes the other? I tell you, no state, when you go under statehood studies, they will tell you, no state will tell you, I will cede my sovereignty to such protocols. I will not cede my birthright to that. Just as maybe in Nigeria, I don't know the relevant laws in Nigeria, may abhor certain trade activities in Nigeria, same is applicable to us in this country. And rightly citing Act 865, GIPC law in this country, to spell out that. You see, but interestingly, who is the cause here? Me, I want to lay the blame squarely at the doorstep of we, citizens of this country, who call ourselves traders or facilitators of trade. You know why? Somebody has a shop in Circle. A Nigerian man comes. Maybe the person is supposed to rent out the shop to a Ghanaian who is supposed to do to undertake retail, trade. But that Ghanaian maybe has less in terms of the advance that he wants. Then the Nigerian comes with maybe huge money. You who is supposed to give that shop to a Ghanaian who will do retail job, which is lawful, you then give the shop to someone because of lust for money, who is a foreigner. The person takes the shop, and you go to Circle and you see all the shops there are owned by mostly Nigerians or even other foreigners. So in the first place, the very Ghanaian who is supposed to protect his own has let out a space for retail to a foreigner. Then when they start the retail trade, the same trader now goes out again and say, government is not acting. And this problem has been lingering on. I don't want someone to say that it is under MPP that this is done, or it's under NDC that this is done. Look, when Professor Owusu was president, this matter came up. When John Dramani Mahama became president, this matter came up. That is what called for this the act to be passed somewhere in 2013, when the MPP was not in power. And Nana Akufo-Addo comes to power, this matter comes up. And you know what? Politicians have allowed themselves to be blackmailed. Because the person who is causing it is not even told or educated enough to know that, look, don't give your shop to foreign retailers. Before you do that, these are the, if you like, the required, conditions. If the person can meet it, you go ahead. But you wait, and the influx of them then comes, trying to edge you out of the retail trade. Then you say, hey, my government is not acting. Then when governments start to act, it becomes a diplomatic row like we are seeing today. Because Nigerians will have a problem. And we have a history. In the 80s, I was very young, but I've read about it. What happened under Shehu Shagari and how Ghanaians were molested and brought down from Nigeria. I've read a couple of it. And I think that we shouldn't get back to that area. And it all came because in 1969, some Nigerians were also what? Deported out from Ghana. Which the NDC have always used to say that when we come, now they've stopped that propaganda. When we come, they are going to sack foreigners. Foreigners are voting for NDC. So they, but you see, this is a real story.
NDC has never said foreigners are voting for them. Foreigners don't vote in Ghana.
Zongo's community, that was the Zongo community. No. You were saying that. I was very quiet when you were making your submission. I beg you. They go to the Zongo. You see, they've stopped that politics now. Initially, they go to the Zongo and tell you, when you vote for MP, when they come, they sack you. Because 69, they sack Zongos. That's what they do. But now they've stopped it because they know we have gone past them. Now, I'm just for the purposes of this discussion, I want to say that we've been there before. Now, if the Speaker of Parliament of Nigeria is coming to this country with aim to ensure that certain loose knots would be looked at, so that we would avoid, if you like, a diplomatic stale relationship, I mean, it's a course in the right direction. I also expect that the government of Ghana would engage in a healthy mood with them. Explain the laws of Ghana properly as written to Nigeria. Nigeria will do same. Then, of course, like my honorable suggested earlier, that look, let us all come to a commonality, that we have agreed that movement of goods and people within the sub-region is free. So that if you come from Niger and you want to do your retail trade, nobody hinders you. If we agree and it's properly documented and we move on, I think we will avoid some of these problems. It's a problem if that we are not careful. We see it as little, but it's a dangerous problem. As we speak, you don't know the number of Ghanaians in Nigeria. Yeah. You have no idea the number of Nigerians also in Ghana. And we've become brothers and sisters. But it is important we all spell out these laws properly. And then, of course, the law enforcers, they have a huge job to do. The person who went out there, like I said earlier, to rent the shop to a retailer, that person, what are we doing to him? We are quiet. The person who is sitting in Makola and, if you like, a Circle Market, and sitting in Kumasi and other areas, facilitating foreigners to do retail, what are we doing to them? What are the law enforcement? Do they have penalties to pay? Let's enforce it. But unfortunately and sadly, because of votes, NDC MPP will not stop blaming themselves and do the right. We will continue on this tangent and allow this problem to linger on. But to land, I think that the sovereignty of Ghana is held in high esteem. Ghana is Ghana. Nonetheless, we still need our foreign, our neighbors. But then the laws must be respected. Absolutely. And of course, we also, who are citizens of this country, let's help the law enforcers to be able to get some of this thing and nip it in the bud. Otherwise, our behavior will continue to let this thing fester. And that's a sad situation.
Thank you. Kamaldeen. Mr. Pratt.
You know, I'm very sad, exceedingly sad. Because anybody with a passing knowledge of history would recognize that in the 1960s, Ghana made a solemn declaration that we are ready to surrender our so-called sovereignty in the interest of the integration of Africa. This is in the 1960s.
Pan-Africanistic.
This is the fact.
Pan-Africanistic.
Ghana made a solemn declaration that we will sacrifice national sovereignty in the interest of African integration. 40, 50 years on, we are talking about protecting our sovereignty when it comes to dealing with other African countries. And it makes me exceedingly sad. Now, this national sovereignty, what is it? We have no part in the delineation of these parts of Africa as Ghana and Nigeria. So we had no part in it. Ghana was not created to serve the interests of people living in Ghana. So Nigeria was not created to serve the interests of people living in Nigeria. And you see, we have very short memories. We forget that Ghana, Guinea, Mali came together to form one country, one union. The Ghana-Guinea Union in the 1960s. We forget. So this national sovereignty that we are protecting it for what and against what? We talk about protecting national sovereignty, and yet we allow the US to come and establish military bases in our country. That's why we don't talk about national sovereignty.
And even bring in Gitmo too.
Masa, when you have the chance, make your point. Don't make my points for me. You know, we talk about national sovereignty when we are talking about Nigeria. But we don't talk about national sovereignty when we hand over our oil and gas resources to acre of Norway for nothing. As Africans, we should be ashamed of ourselves that we have allowed this to fester. The other thing that is completely shocking is when we talk about the law, as if every law has to be obeyed. The law, apartheid was practiced. When apartheid was being practiced, it was lawful. The laws of South Africa entrenched apartheid. Does it make it something that we should change because the law says so? Even in this country, we have a multi-party dispensation, and yet we have laws on our criminal statutes who said that if we brought the president into disrepute, we should go to jail. How do you change government if you don't bring one government into disrepute? And yet we have senseless laws like that. You understand? So the fact that something is law does not make it right. It doesn't make it right at all. We are members of ECOWAS. We are members of the African Union. And yet we enact laws which make Nigerians, Togolese, Ivorians and so on, the same as Germans and Americans and so on. So what is the purpose of the African Union? What is the purpose of ECOWAS? If Nigerians are going to be treated the same way as Germans and so on, what is the purpose? These archaic laws ought to be removed from our statutes as quickly as possible in order to create the conditions for continental integration, which is in the collective interest of the African people. Now let's be realistic. Masa, and my brother Kamal mentioned it. If Nigeria decides to do the same as we are doing, are we going to survive it? Do you know the number of Ghanaians who are engaged in retail business in Nigeria? Let Nigeria also decide that no Ghanaian will be allowed to engage in retail business in Nigeria unless they can demonstrate that they've invested $1 million and see what will happen to us. This whole thing doesn't make sense. And I'm surprised that we can't see, our leaders can't see that what they are doing is not sensible. It's creating unnecessary tensions and it can backfire in our face. What we're doing is senseless, completely senseless. Look at Nigeria, look at the size of Nigeria. I've traveled to Nigeria a couple of times. There's nowhere in Nigeria, no state in Nigeria, where you won't find a huge number of Ghanaians engaged in retail business. Have all those Ghanaians invested $1 million in the Nigerian economy? Let's think. So what is all this rubbish? As if Nigerian traders are the problem. They are causing unemployment in Ghana. So is that the truth? You have gold resources, you are getting only 2% out of your gold resources, and you go and blame Nigeria. Look at what is happening to our oil industry, the ACA deal and so on, and you go and blame Nigeria. Look at what you're doing. You go and sign the EPA agreement, and you blame Nigeria for the worsening conditions in your country. You are spending 3/4 of national revenue on debt servicing, and you go and blame Nigeria. Let's do our homework well and build a better country and so on. Stop this childish behavior. Completely childish behavior. Needless behavior. And who says that is not true? What the Nigerians are alleging is not true. It is true. It is true. Why? All these shops which are being closed. Go and check the number of Nigerian shops which are being closed as compared to the number of shops which are being closed by others. A couple of years ago, I saw something which was completely interesting. I'm sure that many people in Accra who have seen it will tell you. I saw blonde white guys selling socks, the socks you wear before you wear your shoe, in wheelbarrows on the streets of Accra. I saw it with my own naked eyes. You understand? Why are we targeting Nigerians? I urge the Nigerian government to exercise restraint. And as has been done, take the matter to the ECOWAS for a collective resolution of the matter. Because this is not just about Nigerians, it's also about Togolese, it's also about Beninois, it's about everybody, all Africans. So let's find a way out of the problem. And let's discriminate in favor of Africans. You can't treat Africans the same way you treat Europeans and the same way you treat Americans and so on. If there ought to be some arrangements and so on, why should Nigerians invest $1 million before they can engage in retail trade here? Why? What is the sense in that? So we must make laws. We must engage in practices which show that ECOWAS citizens have preferential treatment. The same way the European Union gives some special treatment to Europeans. You understand? And so we should be doing that. I'm sick and tired of all of this, childishness. And come on, you're talking about the history. Yes. You see, the history is very instructive and extremely worrying. I saw what happened with the Alien Compliance Order under Buzia. I saw it. I was old enough to see what happened with the Aliens Compliance Order, And the Aliens Compliance Order was targeted largely at Nigerians. Nigerians sold their properties for peanuts because they were in a rush to go. Many of them died. Thousands of Nigerians died as a result of the Aliens Compliance Order. And the rationale then was that if we got rid of the Nigerians, Ghanaians will have more employment and so on. Check the statistics and see whether our unemployment situation has improved since 1969. It hasn't improved. You understand? What happened in 1979 was a reprisal attack. It was a reprisal attack because of what we did to Nigerians in 1969. You understand? And it's coming up again, and I'm deeply worried because I saw what happened to Nigerians. Look, the space between Manhattan Market all the way to Agbajena in Accra, the population there, if I'm not exaggerating, was about 90% Nigeria. That is why that place was called Lagos Town.
I mean, there was Lagos Town.
There were third generation, Nigerians and people who had been here for 100 years and so on. They were all packed into articulated trucks and driven out of this country as if they were cattle. It should never again happen in our history. That inhuman treatment of Nigerians should never again happen in our country. We boast that Ghana is the Mecca of Africa. We boast that Ghana led the struggle for independence south of Sahara and so on. Look at our behavior. Are we proud of this behavior? I'm sick and tired of Ghana's behavior. Ghana is not behaving well. Ghana is not acting as an example, as a model for other African countries to emulate.
Come on, quickly, yeah.
Quick one. I think this matter where Uncle stands should be a worry to all of us. As Africans, our identity must be preserved,
absolutely,
protected. And as Africans, we must see each other as one. Absolutely. Not too long ago, we saw the xenophobic attacks in South Africa. Absolutely. And of course, Nigerians were then affected. Ghanaians were affected. Mozambicans were killed. But you see, that fundamental call that we had as a people to see how we can harness the opportunities that are around and keep ourselves in oneness. Okay, what has happened to it? I want to share in his sentiment when he says that, look, that African call must be held in high esteem. I come out here, recently we had a very wonderful program. This government put together the, is it the returnees? What's the name? Where we had the diasporans coming into this country. As it were. Nigerians saw that and said they were going to emulate it. We'll get there, don't worry. But the point is that in that spirit, we are calling for our diasporans to come. Even if we're looking at those in the 18th century and all that. Now, we cannot come together. So I want to say that clearly, that unity of purpose is needed. However, it cannot be achieved without the commitment of all of us. So we should speak in generics and just not speak to say Nigerians are those who are targeted. No, Ghanaians also could be targeted in Nigeria. And of course, under Shehu Shigari, Ghanaians also suffered. Just as in 1969, they also suffered. But clearly, this aliens compliance order thing, which was passed under Kwame Nkrumah before it came to enforce, Buzia came to use it. Many people don't know that it was under Kwame Nkrumah the law was passed. But of course, when I read the books, tells me that 58 Buzia was not in power. That was around the time aliens compliance order was passed. Anyway.
This is not true.
It's very true. It's in the books. I've seen it.
No, this is history. I gave you a chance to.
The law is there.
Kamal, it is not true. This is not true.
Alien compliance was passed on the Kwame.
No,
It's a law.
It was an order.
It's an order, yes.
So it can't be passed. It's an order that all people
And the Kwame Nkrumah.
and it was Busia who made that order. That's why it is called. It's not called Aliens Compliance Act. It's called Aliens Compliance Order. It's an order of the president.
A simple Google will solve this problem for us.
Exercising its executive authority under the Constitution, 1969 Constitution, to say that non-Ghanaians must leave Ghana.
It was well, there's a law, and I don't know, but maybe it's here.
They should pass an act of parliament.
In any case, independent.
Yeah.
What did the Nkrumah government state? The Nkrumah government stated that everybody who was resident in Ghana at the date of independence qualified to be a citizen of Ghana. How could the Nkrumah government have said?
I don't see the revelation to this morning. I've always said that the mindset of the MPP is wired towards considering people in the Zongos as aliens. And today, I'm shocked by what Kamal has said.
No.
I'm shocked. You see, Kamal, let me tell you. Your grandfather, your great-grandfather, your ancestors, because they were protectorates, because northern part of Ghana was a protectorate, they were carried to the south. That's how come you earn the name Pepe. Because the Southerners did not know you. They did not know us.
So that's gave birth to your propaganda?
No. So when you say that people in Zongos, you are reinforcing it. You are not the first to say it too. I'm telling them you are not the first. I've always been fighting this. People don't know their history.
Okay. Let me read a few of the messages that have come through our Facebook platform. Edmond Saki says, watching you live from Equatorial Guinea. Greetings to Sabo. See him tomorrow. Ogbefi again, he says, God continue to bless Mr. Pratt. Hakim Saka says, Keodi, good morning to you and your panelists. It's a joy listening to Uncle Kwesi Pratt. I'm watching you live from Wa. Anafi Adam says, there's nothing to form any independent group. Okay, I don't know what you're talking about. I think you're talking about the Japa. All right. Abu Sadi says, Mr. Pratt, God bless you. Al Hassan, he says, good morning. I'm Al Hassan from Boko. I totally disagree with Uncle Pratt. We go to Burkina Faso to sell our things. You can do retailing. You give your item to citizen of Burkina Faso to sell for you. Adams Sumala says, KOD, you're doing a good work. Thank you. This one also says, champion, I stand with my hand up in the air for Senior Pratt. There's nothing like the truth. Please tell Mr. Pratt that my love for him has tripled. Government should leave these Nigerian traders alone. Their presence in our market has helped you, the poor, to survive in this rather hard and wicked Ghanaian economy. The price of an item in a Nigerian man's shop here in Tamale is 2 or 3 times cheaper than that of a Ghanaian man. So government should not make life unbearable for us. Please leave them alone. Okay, so all of you are watching. Thank you very much for watching. Let me go for this quick commercial. But when I come back, we deal with some domestic stories here. Stay with us.
Breakfast good day, every day.
Nestle. Good food, good life.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Breakfast good day, every day. Every day.
Nestle. Good food, good life.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Thank you very much for staying tuned in. Let me remind you again that the WhatsApp number is active in 026-084-653. Now we're also streaming live on Facebook, facebook.com/Pan-African Television. Kindly share the feed so others can get to join in the conversation. Let's now come back home and discuss some domestic issues here. Kamal, I want to start with you respectfully on the next topic.
Very well.
Ochihini speaks out on Dome Fasi land dispute. I'm sure you've been following events and you can share with us. Yes, please.
I think first of all, this struggle to inject, or if you like, introduce, or if not to introduce, but to push into our body politics, tribalism and ethnocentrism is something we should condemn in no uncertain terms. Whoever tries where we are today, okay, to say that let's go the ethnocentric way, let's go the tribalistic way, then that is sad. You know why? This matter has come to us to be discussed on the table. It's the insinuations we give to it. It's the insinuation that we give to it. It's a land matter. Here at Obum Domiabra, I visit there frequently. I have friends there, as it were. And land matter has metamorphosed strongly into somewhat tribalistic issue. I believe it's based on that, okay, the Ochihini has to speak up because his name and of course his throne is purportedly being used by some unscrupulous ones, okay, to mean that Achims are in a way trying to poke their noses into a gang arrangement. I mean, there's an insinuation there, and I think it's very important we look at it. That is the background. Properly speaking, this is a land matter between two factions, whatever. One chief who calls himself some Ampejohene or whatever of Achims, when in fact it doesn't even exist. It's not even true. That is not recognized even by the Achim kingdom. So someone is purportedly using this particular title, okay, to claim maybe what is not for him. I'm using maybe because I'm using my words, I'm choosing my words advisedly. Absolutely. I'm not too sure whether the land belongs to or doesn't belong to him. But maybe to claim what doesn't belong to him. But the name of Achim coming in, with some also people sitting somewhere wanting to introduce tribalism and try as much as possible to even bring down certain ethnic clans in this country, calling them names, maybe might have triggered this response from the Ochihini. But for me, it was more than right for him to have come in to clear the air. First of all, that chief is referred to as an imposter by the statement of the Ochihini. That tells us clearly that on authority, the Achim kingdom knows nobody like that. Secondly, the Achim kingdom disassociate themselves from any arrangement of land within the Ga areas because that is not under his domain. So it tells again that they have no business in the land of Obum Domiabra. So the statement was emphatic and was clear. And for me, it's a good one to have come to clear the air. That those unscrupulous ones who wanted to do that or want to push it should be handled by the law and let the law take its course. Again, my advice to we the politicians, when some of these things come and we know the facts on the table, instead of speaking to these facts, because we want to leverage on that and maybe also try to find a way of hoodwinking people to voting for us or getting people to vote for us, then we also go on. Hey, even the Achims want to take everything in this country. The Achims want to do X, Y, Z, this one, whatever, just because we have a president who is from the Achim land. And I'm saying that we should continue doing this. It's not going to be better for us. We continue on the tangent of tribalism. Ghana, that is better for Uncle Kwesi and myself. And of course, my elder brother, Honorable. Okay? will cease to be better because we are introducing what is not proper for us. Tribal bigotry. Somebody makes a mistake, let the law handle the person. Let us not bring in tribalism. And I'm taking it from this angle because I want us to know that the air is clear. And the one holding himself as an Pedrohini of Achim is not true. He's an imposter. So in discussing this matter, we should be fair and then clear and be truthful on it and make sure that hoodlums, miscreants, if you like, people who disobey the law must be handled by the law. Let the people of Obum, Domiabra, and of course the powers that be, I mean the authorities, handle this matter well and move on. And let us avoid or eschew this unwanted, needless, tribalistic sentiments that we do whip into our body politics. It's a sad situation.
It's a sad spectacle, says Kabaldi. Let's now hear from Honorable Inusa Fusedi. Sir.
I don't know whether the concluding part of Kamal's submission is an invitation to us to jump into the bigotry matter. Because I know that we are going to discuss that.
Oh, really?
Yes. Because what Ochiyini has simply done is to disassociate his throne from the activity, his tool from the activities of Balfour Sapong Kumakuma, who otherwise styles himself as Mpunuahini of the Achim traditional area. That's what he's just done. I don't know by what extension you are reading into.
Commentaries around.
No, we are discussing this one. We are discussing this one. I don't know by what extension you are bringing tribal bigotry and not.
In context.
But you see, as a responsible politician, we must go into this matter. The statement of Ochiyini in the words or song of Jimmy Cliff raises more questions than answers.
Why?
200 soldiers armed were sent to Domi Fasi. The soldiers are an institution of state. They do not move unless commanded. Who commanded the soldiers to Domi Fasi? The soldiers said that they were performing official duties. Who gave them those duties? Today, Ochiyini is saying that Balfour Sapong Kumakuma was simply a land guard. Who are the persons behind Balfour Sapong Kumakuma who share an interest in the Domi Fasi land and who use state power to move the soldiers there?
There are answers.
No, I'm just asking.
There are answers, simple answers.
Yes, I'm just asking. You see, so it's good that Ochiyini has issued that statement. But that is just the beginning of the solution of the puzzle. That's just the beginning. Burnt palaces, destroyed property. Ochiyini says that Balfour Sapong Kumakuma was not in any way acting on behalf of the Achim stool. He's otherwise unknown to the stool. Do you see what it portends? It's dangerous. Politically, it's also dangerous for this country. It's dangerous for this country that individuals can style themselves as chiefs. Yeah. And then are able to manipulate the system, the security services, and use them to their advantage. When the security is maintained by the taxpayers' money, set up to protect and provide security for everybody in this country. That is their express responsibility. Protect lives and property of everybody. That is why sometimes when I look at this government, I just believe that Ghanaians may not like what is happening. Ghanaians may be fed up with what is happening. But just being fed up is not the end of the matter. It's not the end of the matter. We have to demand accountability. Impunity must not be alive to thrive in this country. And we're seeing a lot of impunity in this country. I have no doubt sitting here after reading the Ochinyini statement that very powerful members of government were involved in this matter. Because I know as a fact that at a point in time there was a fracas between the ministers of Nana Akufo-Addo on the movement of the military. Who controls the movement? Is it the Minister of Defense or the Minister of National Security or the Minister of Interior? And somebody can move 200 soldiers in government vehicles, public property, and go and destroy it. And you say tribal bigotry. It's not about tribal bigotry. After tribal bigotry, when we come there, people will run. We know who are the tribal bigots.
Who are they?
Oh, you don't know those who said that the history of this country cannot be written if the history of the Achims is excluded. Ghana has no history. In fact, let me put it well, that Ghana has no history if the history of the Achims is not part of that history. What is more tribalistic? What is more a bigoted statement than that statement? You know what my grandfather did? My great-grandfather did? You know why we have the Gumbes? You know why Dagbong was a land that was there before the British came and made it part of? You know the blood that was spilled to make it possible? And somebody says that history is not relevant. It's not relevant. That history, which is a manifestation of my dignity as a Dogomba, is not relevant. And says that I'm a tribal bigot. I have had, because of my marks, and I don't know of Kamal, because I see those marks on your face. I have been asked questions. Now, who's with him? I have been asked those questions. Now, who's with him? Because of my marks. In fact, at even a foreign mission, when I moved there with even my Ghanaian passport in my hands, the question there was not which part of Ghana do you come from. With even the Ghanaian passport, I have been asked, are you a Ghanaian? What is more tribalistic than this?
By who? By MP?
What is more tribal? But come on, don't make, when I sit on this program, don't make me annoyed so that I can speak out of 10. I don't want to provoke to speak out of 10. We have been told in this country by tribal bigots of the MPP that but for education I would have been driving cattle. I've been told. But for education, Kamal, you would have been farming in Nantong and driving cattle and goats. And you think that statement is not bigotry? That our grandfathers and great-grandfathers drove goats and sheep and brought us forth and brought our fathers forth. And our fathers progressed to the point that they thought that we should go to school.
With the great respect, I thought we were going into this bigotry discussion as well.
Because I asked for the invitation.
No, he
premised your submission on that. Your submission was predicated on that, which is why that was an invitation. So, with the grace of respect to you, when Mr. Pratt is done in this, I'll give you the opportunity.
I asked you a question whether there was an invitation to consider that, because Domi Farsi land is not bigotry. Domin Farsi land is an illegality perpetuated by somebody who helped. But you invited us to bigotry. You invited us. They told you to discuss Domin Farsi land. You said tribal bigots. And you decided to paint the Ochihini as the overlord, overhead of everything. And I'm saying that no, the statement issued by Oforiata is just what we call in law a disclaimer. That's a disclaimer. And why is he disclaiming? They condemn the act. Even if that act, if that Sapon, powerful Sapon, Kuma was a chief in Achim, they would have condemned the act the same. That's what their statement is trying to say. But the fact is that he is an imposter. He's not. And then why? How does bigotry come here?
I will explain.
If you set yourself questions and answer them, look, if you set yourself and questions and answer them, you don't criticize or interject when your script is being reviewed, because you set yourself the question. And I'm saying that after bigotry, they have forgotten the statement of Osafo Mafu.
Which one is that?
That statement that said that a Northerner is not fit to rule this country. If that is not bigotry, tell me what that is. Because they don't have anything. Hey. There's no gold there. There's no diamond there. There's nothing there. So, we shouldn't be ruling this country.
There is gold up now.
No, but he said that maybe now you correct him. You correct him. Even there is the water. There are customers that are providing us light. Comes down from the north. It's a critical national resource. The human beings.
Kwame, I'll be happy to speak.
The human beings who have contributed, and whose fathers were put in ships and sent to war by the British colonialists to fight as Gold Coasters, are critical resource. What about the contributions that we make daily as Northerners to the development of this country? It's not a resource. It's not soft infrastructure. It's not soft resource. Because we don't grow cocoa. Because we don't grow. I'm not going to talk about the potential. I'm telling you that Northern part, a foreign minister can tell Osafo Mafu and the tribal bigots and MPP that the northern part is not being exploited for minerals because of lack of facilities, infrastructure to move those resources to the coast. God was not, and he has never been a wicked person. That the northern part of this country has its fair share of resources. But you see, it's just economics. It's just economics. That it is cheaper to even bring rice from outside to this country than to promote the cultivation of rice in the north, because there's no infrastructure. The roads are not there to move the rice. So the cost of moving the rice to the south is expensive. So it discourages people. But that doesn't mean that we don't have resources. We know the tribal bigots when we see them. We know those who, even not today, even Nkrumah was said not to originate from Ghana.
Dovetailed into this bigotry issue. It's something we have to look at critically, and of course on this tribalistic matter. I listened to Honorable Inusa, and he appears to posit that tribalistic tendencies introduced in our body politics only affects Northerners. It's not true.
I don't care who
no,
affects.
No, is it? No,
I don't care
that is the impression created.
I don't care who it affects.
What we all condemn and we all
must not be encouraged.
Yes,
that's what you're saying.
what we all must do is to condemn such acts.
Absolutely.
You see, when you even come to the northern part of Ghana, and I'm happy he knows, and I know, that we have so many tribes, and among us, this tribalistic tendency is even high.
No, I don't know.
Among us, I'm telling you.
I don't know of that.
I am saying
that
even among us, we know who is this and who is that.
I don't know of that, Kamal.
And all that.
I don't know.
But see, let me bring it down, sir, when we try to bring in politics. Politics of it. I'm trying to say that, look, wherever we find ourselves as a country, let us see ourselves as one, and then, of course, focus to get to the destiny as one people. That is the point I want to try to make. the reason why I said we shouldn't even invite this bigotry into this matter and look at it and treat it as something criminal and move on. Now, it is when you appear with a complex, that is why you feel you have been treated unfairly on a tribal sentiment. It's a complex. Let's be sure. Me, you see my marks and you want to ask me certain questions, and I know that you do not have the right to ask me such questions, my good brother, you will pay for it. Why? When you give reference to Osafumafu's statement, purported Osafumafu statement, alleged Osafumafu statement, because we all saw the news that came out when doctored matters came up. Then somebody also says somewhere and cites that a certain president in the name of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama one time went to Kumasi and said that Akuko Sachira Kuma Akruma Enyanefe Akan people are, if you like, ungrateful people. Yes, I am. I am. The prior 2016 election happened. I'm telling you, it's on record.
In the exact same way.
I am saying, it's an interpretation to it that whatever you do, whatever you do, they will not see your interpretation. Listen, whatever you do for accounts, the accounts will not. You see, the land on this matter. I say, Akuko Sachira Kuma, and then for whatever they do, accounts will not appreciate the NDC. This was clear. And let me. You see, I am happy you said I am consumed this morning. I don't want to be consumed. But you see. When that happens, somebody will say somewhere who's an account and introduce tribalistic tendency into it, because you are not know who has made such comment. Are you getting my point? When that happens, because your president is a northerner, then the account who is sitting there feels affected and said, you have called me Bonaye. Bonaye is an ungrateful person, somebody who would not appreciate whatever you do, and that happens. It's good. Learn for me to learn on it. I think that it's a sad situation when we all must know that tribalism will not help us, that ethnocentrism will not help us. When we get to know this, it is competence that will lay to bear. It is when you know what you know, you can put on the table that can help Ghana to grow. That is what is important. Because there are accounts in NDC. There are northerners in MPP. I'm a northerner, the Gomba for that matter, but I'm a member of the New Patriotic Party. The same way you have Kobna Difwo, who is from the Ashanti region, who has been a finance minister under NDC. So when we start talking tribalism, then of course our politics and democratic dispensation will not grow better. That is why I admonish that we all need to.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pratt, please.
Well, I mean, Kwame, to be honest, I'm completely frightened by these developments. The Ochihine statement has not in any way allayed my fears. It has made my fears worse. What the Ochihine is saying is that an ordinary citizen of Ghana like you and I, who does not work in the Flagstaff House, who is not in the security services, can actually order 200 armed soldiers to wage war on a community.
I'm corrected. That was not what happened initially. I wanted to correct this. I noted it down. It's not that was uncle. Let's be fair. It was after the incident that the defense ministry. It was after the incident. Look at the story.
Okay.
The 200 went after the incident, but it was 2 soldiers who went there with the chief, and that problem happened.
That was the initial report. That was the initial.
No, that was but the 200 came after.
Let Mr. Pratt justify that.
So let's correct this matter.
Yes. Listen.
No, let's correct it.
This is the report of the Crusading Guide.
Yes.
The Ochihine also denies any involvement in the dastardly act that brought the town to a halt when at least 200 armed soldiers stormed the area in retaliation to attack by residents on 2 of their men.
Very good. So you see, I'm right.
Only to some extent. Only to some extent. Only to some extent. You understand?
Thanks for the admission.
You are right to the extent.
Hold on, please. Let's allow respect because of time. Kamal and Honorable, respect, please.
Kamal, you are right only to the extent that the 200 soldiers were mobilized after. The fact is also that before the 200 soldiers were mobilized, armed soldiers were mobilized to brutalize the citizens. The destruction that occurred in the place was done by armed soldiers.
Yes, 2 of them.
You understand? The numbers may be in dispute, but it was a large number of soldiers who went to the town. And those soldiers told the townsfolk that they were acting on instructions from above. Who moved soldiers? Who moved soldiers? So clearly, there's an abuse of the Ghana Armed Forces. And that abuse of the Ghana Armed Forces has led to the current situation. Okay? Now, many security experts, many of them, and I've been listening to them over the last 2 weeks, are warning us that we should stop the abuse of the military for such criminal acts and also for maintaining law and order among civilians. And that the more we do that, the armed forces will lose respect. And we know the consequences of the armed forces losing respect. The 1979 so-called June 4th revolution came about largely because people in the armed forces felt that they had been misused. And that as a consequence, soldiers were losing respect amongst the civilian population. I was old enough at that time. I recall that one of the things that got the soldiers even more angry was the fact that when they went to town, women used to pour water and urine on them. That's the extent to which the soldiers have been disrespected. That disrespect led to the so-called June 4 revolution. We should be careful, especially those in power. The seeds we are sowing today can become seeds which will germinate into national confusion and chaos. Are we saying that what you're saying has said is the end of everything? He is telling us that this guy whom they describe as an imposter is able to mobilize armed soldiers to do this. Complete illegality. So, and he describes the guy as just a land guard. He said, the story says in a statement he issued on the incident, Ochini noted that he acted as a land guard in furtherance of his illicit and criminal profession related to unlawful sand winning, unauthorized sale of land, and violation of order and enforcement of public policy, which has been his hallmark. This is your chain. This is not my statement. Even the fact that we have allowed this illegality to persist, the degradation of the environment, sand winning activities, the extent to which they have degraded the environment, and so on. Illicit land sales and so on. All this have been going on under the very nose of the security services. And what makes it worse is that it is the national security apparatus which is deployed to facilitate the commission of crimes. I am scandalized.
We should condemn it.
I am completely scandalized by this development. This statement by Ochini is useful to the extent that it seeks to exonerate his tool from involvement in the criminal activities. And perhaps may also help to lower the ethnic tensions that are building up.
Absolutely.
Oh, my brother.
Explain my point.
Oh, come on. Let's allow, yeah. Hold on, gentlemen, please.
I haven't made my point. I'm now coming to make the point. So listen to me very carefully. Look, it does not lie in the mouth of anybody who is a member of or supporter of a party which was built on tribalism, to be condemning ethnic bigotry. Perhaps Kamal doesn't know the history of his party. I know. Look, a fatwa was issued from the palace of the Asantehene that all Ashantis who are members of the CPP should resign and come back to Ashanti to join the National Liberation Movement. That's the basis of the
liberation
party.
movement was NDP.
Bafo Akuto was one.
Bafo Akuto issued a fatwa. You don't know the history. Hold on. You know the
I'll come to you. We'll take our
He issued a fatwa.
We'll take our
Hold on.
National liberation movement is not. But that's fine. I'll grant you that.
Massa, Bafo Akuto issued a fatwa that all Ashanti members of the Convention People's Party should defect from the Convention People's Party, come to Kumasi to join the National Liberation Movement.
Is it all get back to Akuto?
Massa, I beg you, please.
Sorry, please. Yeah.
It was as a result of that people like R.R. Amponsa, who became chairman of your Council of Elders, Victor Owusu, Joe Appiah and others, resigned from the Convention People's Party. They were all members of the Convention People's Party. As a result of this tribal clarion call, ethnic clarion call, they went and joined hands in building the National Liberation Movement. Now, today you claim that the UGCC was the foundation of your party and so on.
Claim, that's what it is.
You don't know. You don't know. You understand? You don't know. Because
I mean, that is not.
after the humiliating defeat of the UGCC in the 1951 elections, the UGCC disbanded. That's the historical fact. Go and check the record of elections in Ghana. The only national elections that the UGCC contested was the 1951 elections. By the 1954 elections, the UGCC had been disbanded, didn't exist. You understand? So the UGCC did not continue into what we have today as the MPP. When the UGCC disbanded after it was humiliated, completely humiliated, in the 1951 elections, the NLM and others came out. And indeed, you should be thankful to Kwame Nkrumah. It was Kwame Nkrumah's government which came up with the Avoidance of Discrimination Act, compelling all those parties, NPP, Northern People's Party,
Ghana Party, GP,
and all of that, to come together to form the United Party. The United Party was formed at the instigation of the Nkrumah government.
You don't know.
So if you are tracing your history starts with the National Liberation Movement.
According to Mr. Pratt.
No, the real history of Ghana.
History according to
No, the real. Did the UGCC contest the 1954 elections?
No.
So how is that my history?
But of course.
By 1954, there was no UGCC in Ghana. Are you contesting that?
The legal body was not.
Are you contesting that by 1954 there was no UGCC in Ghana?
Listen, you see. Okay, let me surprise. I'll give it a time.
Don't talk about tribal bigotry and so on. Don't attempt to do that.
Hold on, please.
Because even if you are going to talk about recent tribal statements and so on, you know, yesterday there was a video which was trending on social media.
Yeah.
There was a video which was a video which was trending on social media. And that video is of a woman, a young woman, who is from Keta, okay, and who is in the US and is now moving to the UK to do her PhD. And she's saying that people say that she's a tribalist. Why? Because people speak to her in Tree and she doesn't understand Tree. And when she's unable to express herself in Tree and she insists that, look, let's speak English or let's speak a language that all of us understand, she says she's a tribalist. Can you believe? So people really attack people's identity and so on. They attack people's identity and so on. When the people react, then they become the tribalists. That is the method. You want to go into ethnocentric statements which have been made recently? Ethnocentrism would retard our development as a people. Look, if you go into the cabinet meeting, when the NPP cabinet meets, when Nana Akufo-Addo's cabinet meets, do they fight about who is from Volta region and who is from Central and who is from Western? They don't. They have a common interest to make sure that Ejapa succeeds. So Master, when you get your chance, make your points. Don't make my points from me. I don't
Come on. Wait,
I beg you.
Yeah.
So when they meet in the cabinet, because they want Ejapa to succeed, they are all united on Ejapa. Okay? When they leave the cabinet, then they begin to talk about who is a Togolese and who is a Ghanaian and so on. In their cabinet meeting, it doesn't happen. When all the political party leaders meet, nobody is talking about who is a Togolese and so on. It's all about how to achieve our objective. Yesterday, I went to a meeting of the leadership of the Convention People's Party. And the whole thing was about what policies will be in the best interest of Ghana. In that meeting, there were Evers, there were Dagombas, there were Fafras, there were Fantis, there were Gagaris. Everybody was there. You understand? Outside that meeting, and if they are true Nkrumahs, I don't expect them to be raising those issues and so on. But outside those conclaves of the elite and so on, the elite then begin to divide us on our ethnicity so that they can continue to stay on top of us. Look, ordinary people in this country, the working people and so on, they should insist also on their unity against these elites, good for nothing elites, who have not been able to resolve the KK and fish problems of the ordinary working people. You understand? The failure of the elite to resolve the KK and fish problems of ordinary people, when it's about to be exposed, they then retreat into ethnic saviards and so on. It should not be allowed. We should unite as a people with a common destiny and insist that we get a fair share of the national cake. We should unite as working people of Ghana and insist that our leaders do not sign the ECA deal and so on. We should unite as the common people of this country to make sure that the resources of this country are owned by the people of this country and exploited for the benefit of the people of this country. Ethnicity has no place in this. Absolutely, and your people are practicing it and pronouncing it.
But why? NDC have elements who are doing that as well.
Yeah, Honorable, my time is up, but I think we can, I don't know, in rounding up, if we can briefly touch on the COVID-19 thing.
Well, COVID-19
briefly.
is so serious that we can't touch on it.
Absolutely.
See,
So,
because the death clearly is an admission of the fact that, and Mr. Kosupra alluded to it briefly when he said that we are using 3/4 of our revenue to service debt.
Revenue plus grants.
Grants to service debt. I mean, we have gone back to the debt to GDP ratio is now 89.something%. We have gone back to our hypocrite. No, it's not. Oh, the size of the economy doesn't depend on GDP. No. The size of the economy is simply the economy is simply expenditure and income. That's the economy. That GDP is expenditure, income. So if you are saying that you are using 89.1% of your income to service debt, it means that you are left with less than 30%, even less than 20% of that for development. So that is worrying. It doesn't matter the size of the economy. It doesn't matter. The size of the economy is simply the total expenditure and the total income. That's the economy. So if your economy is 3 trillion, if your debt is 89% of 3 trillion, that's it. You see, that's it. So we have come back to that. What they are telling us is simply, and me, I'm not surprised. To be honest with you, I'm not surprised. Because the finance minister, when COVID-19 came, said that COVID-19 had challenged the basic assumptions in the budget. So all the inflation targeting, all the deficit targeting, he said he wouldn't be able to meet them. And when he came to Parliament for his supplementary budget, he said COVID-19 has exposed the vulnerabilities of the economy. So,
Anyway.
You can't know. But you see, let me come back to tribal bigotry.
Yeah.
It is bad. It is very bad. Rwanda and the Congo, the Congo area, basin area, is unstable because of tribalism. Because of tribalism. It is bad. But you see, and I think that people like Kamal should be encouraged to speak against tribalism. But it goes against the grain of your party. And I will invite you to continue to study your party. You see, your party was built on two fundamental principles, tribalism and chieftaincy. Fundamental. So you will see that they think that chieftaincy can be a veritable institution for mobilization. Tribalism can be an institution for easy mobilization. These were the two fundamental principles that your party was built on. So if now you want to reach out, fine, but let's speak against tribalism.
Come on, briefly.
It's interesting. I am told that I do not know my history.
The history of your party.
My party. Okay. And of course, we sit on this platform, a very noble platform like this, and say that a political party, in fact, a particular tradition is built on two, if you like, legs.
Oh, research it. Research it.
Tribalism and chieftaincy.
Chieftaincy, yes.
It refreshes. You see, it makes me quite happy when at least I trace my history and realize that my party on any day never sought to destool a chief because that chief doesn't support the political party. We never did that. But there's a history in this country where chiefs were threatened to be destooled if they do not belong to a particular political party in this country. There's a history like that anyway.
No such history.
That's the Kwame Nkrumah's history. Kwame Nkrumah's history. So if you talk of real, no, Kwame Nkrumah's history. You see, let's move on. No, I'm fine. Now, you see, now I am telling you that there are chiefs. There are chiefs who were threatened. I'm not spinning. There were chiefs who were threatened not to, if you are not belonging to CPP, will be destooled. Chiefs. So, and we never did that. I have a history. Now. So the whole world knows who wanted to skew chieftaincy to the advantage. They know. NDC sees themselves as partial Nkrumahis. Honorable Kosi Pratt, of course, they are partial Nkrumahs. Why? Sometimes they put Nkrumah's picture and put NDC wherever they say they are almost like that. Now, Kodi. Yes. On a serious note, yes, sir. I listened to Uncle Kosi. He ends with condemnation to ethnicity. Honorable Inusa, in his last intervention now, ends with such condemnation.
Absolutely.
Myself, I will end with a condemnation. Viewers, with the greatest of respect, the Ghana we are developing, the Ghana we are developing needs that unity, and we all have to condemn it, and it's important. COVID-19 hikes debt services. It is a known fact, clear, that in fact the challenges imposed on us by COVID-19 is enormous. That's a known fact, and it's a global phenomenon. It's a global problem. The deficit law that we set, when the finance minister came, as he rightly alluded, to Parliament, said, look, that law cannot be applicable now, given the exigencies of our time. And these are statements of facts. What more do we expect from a government? Okay, when the government comes to tell you what is transparent and what is truth, then you say you want to chastise the government because COVID-19's impact on their debt services is huge. I think you are not being economical with the truth. I mean, you are being economical with the truth, as it were. You are not being truthful to us. Point is that let us all see this as a pandemic that has affected the whole world.
All right.
Of course, has affected the economies and even bigger economies.
Okay.
Not only Ghana. Okay. So we do not blame, if you like, the system. Okay. We blame the pandemic that has actually come in.
Thank you very much.
I want to thank you once again, and once again, we are on a commonality. Ethnicity must go.
All right.
John Mahama must not do tribal politics in this country.
Mr. Pratt, please hand it over for us.
I'm surprised at the way my brother Kamal ended. Is it only John Mahama who must not do tribal politics in this country?
All of us.
Fantastic. So why did you end the way you did?
Hey! It's you! Why?
actually talk about NDC.
No. Listen. I'm not in the NDC MPP game. I just want us to be fair and to respect the facts.
Yeah.
Nobody in the world, not just Ghana, should be engaged in the promotion of ethnocentric sentiments, including Nana Akufo-Addo.
And all of us.
Yes.
Kamadi.
You understand? So I think we should take it from there.
Right. So we have Akufo-Addo.
Now, my brother.
Yes, sir.
The national debt stock has doubled. It has doubled from about 120 billion to 258 billion. Can anybody tell us that it is COVID which brought this about?
No.
I mean, it must take wizardry for anybody to come to that conclusion. Over 3.5 years, the national debt has more than doubled. Indeed, within one year, the national debt has increased from 204.6 billion Ghana cedis to 258.4 billion Ghana cedis. It used to be 58.5% of GDP. Yeah? It is now 67, almost 68% of GDP. Is that COVID? Was this done by COVID? Don't deceive yourselves and worry us. There is something fundamentally wrong with the economy. It's not COVID. Now you are blaming COVID for everything. Kwame, you know my worry. And you see, I must commend this young reporter at Graphic, Maxwell Akalari Adumbila.
Yes.
He's been writing fantastic articles on the economy. In fact, what we are discussing is one of the articles that he wrote, based on an interview with the Deputy Finance Minister, Mr. Edubuahini. You understand? And I think that if you follow this guy, you get a very balanced and biased reportage of the national economy. And I'm so happy that we have such a young, talented journalist. We are spending 3/4, not 1/4, 3/4 of our total revenue and grants, the monies they give us for free, they dash us safe. You have to add it to service debt and principal payments. This economy is on the ground. It has collapsed. I mean, any economy which uses this level has collapsed. When we are spending, Masa, when we are spending 90% of your total revenue servicing debts, is that a vibrant economy? Is that a vibrant economy? Tell me if that's your idea of a vibrant economy, fine. We have now passed the HIPIC state. We have passed the HIPIC state. In 3.5 years. Are we not worried?
We should not worry.
I guess this weekend we are going to have time on this economy and African Saturday.
Well, hopefully, if you're on a ladder.
All
right, let me. My time is up. My time is up.
Masa, I beg, Kwame.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Kamaldeen is saying that this is the picture I'm painting. This, oh please. These are the words of Mr. Charles Edubuahini, Deputy Minister of Finance. These are not my figures. Let me read them. The ministry's response followed an analysis that showed the ratio of debt service cost to total revenue and grants has risen to 89.1% in June this year. Is this me?
Yeah.
This is the ministry's analysis. Masa, let's continue. The country's debt stock currently stands at 258.4 billion Ghana cedis. The Ministry of Finance plans to reduce that to 71.6%. Is that me? Masa, hold on. The national debt stock rose from 204.6 billion, equivalent to 58.5% of GDP in June 2019, to 258.4 billion Ghana cedis, the equivalent of 67% of GDP in June this year. Is this me? Is this me? This is your Deputy Minister of Finance.
Yes. 6 months, they borrowed the entire amount of money from our borrowing.
Yes, my boss.
Upon all this gloomy picture painted by, or they seek to paint. One will sit here upon all this gloomy picture that Honorable Kwesi Pratt and Auntie
First of all, I'm not
wants
honorable.
to paint out.
First of all, I'm not honorable.
Okay, Mr. Kwesi Pratt.
And secondly, I'm not the one speaking. This is from the Deputy Minister of Finance.
I said upon all the gloomy picture.
Yes.
I pray.
Let's
have time. You see, it's not very interesting. Very interesting. Upon all these gloomy picture that they want to tell Ghanaians that this economy is wobbling.
It's not wobbling.
There are wonderful, great
projects,
pro-poor policies running and benefiting Ghanaians.
Like
we have not gone to IMF. We have not gone to IMF. We have not gone to IMF as we set our list to seek for support.
Thank you.
Okay. Somebody says to take the economy to IMF and bring the white man to our finance minister.
Thank you very much. Thank you, somebody says greetings goes out to you. Come out. He says you have done a great job for the party. So
at least fine. We are
thank you all. Thank you, Mr. Pratt. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a nice day. Bye bye.